All right. I think we are live. Live. Okay, so let me just get my bearings here. I just had to restart my computer, so I'm a little bit trying to get things set up. On watching. Mute. Okay. Okay, we are live. We're live, we're live, we're live. Okay, computer, stop. Okay, so welcome. Say hi if you're just joining and want to know what we're going to be building today. So we got a mobile app that we're going to be building. Pretty excited. Computer, stop. I'm pretty excited about this actually because I've been working on this for a while now. Well, a week. That's a while for me. And I have a few things that I want to accomplish today. So I'm going to do sort of two things. We're going to try to see if we could sort of split the stream in two different parts. We'll see how that goes. Goal number one is we're going to try to just do a quick recap on what we did building the app. That's number one. Second thing is we're going to talk about the launch strategy that I'm kind of deploying because I've been talking about how to build an app and how to launch it, but I haven't actually done it in the context of our community and some of the things that I'm teaching there. So my goal with this app is to launch it in the real world, to get real customers and real feedback from people out in the wild, and do it in a way where I could document the process and then show you guys sort of like the behind the scenes on how I was able to get it launched. This way you have like a proper real world roadmap, because I've been thinking about this for a while now, about how do we do this effectively, and that's been sort of the challenge. So let me just pull up the school community here for a second here, and then we'll talk about it for a bit. But 1 second, SK. So with the school, the challenge that I've been having is, like I said, I wanted to kind of build out. My mission is to build this 7-day challenge. And so what I've been doing is basically building out this app and try to launch it within that 7-day period so I could use that as a documentation to help us to kind of figure out, to basically teach you, like give you a real world way of showing you how to build things out. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's going to be the mission. That's going to be cool. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go through all the pieces there. We're going to try to see if we can then, on top of it, add Cloudflare AI to the application. So the app is working. It's actually working really, really good. But we're going to try to see if we could add AI to it. And from the AI pieces, we're going to see if we can get some additional, more advanced functionality. So what's the goal with the app? The goal is the app is to give it away for free, but then if you wanted to upgrade, you could buy some AI features, right? And that's how we're going to kind of treat it. So that's going to be the mission. All right, so let's just jump right into it. I'm actually experimenting. I'm trying to stream on TikTok at the same time, so I got 2 sets of streams going. I think I'm on Twitch as well too. I think. Let me just double check that. I keep forgetting where I am. DWT switch. Yeah, I think we're on Twitch, aren't we? Yeah, we're live on Twitch as well too. So we'll see how this goes. I'm experimenting with all of these different platforms. It's really confusing and hard to keep all these platforms straight in my head. But it says we're offline. Of course we're offline. Why would we be online? So anyway, all right. So with that, let's just jump right into what we're going to be doing today. So like I said, mission number one is to get, actually I got to do one more thing here. 1 second. So I want to pop this out so at least I could see keep all the chats together. This way I don't have to jump through 2 different places for the chats. Perfect. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so let's do this. First of all, we're going to talk about sort of the launch strategy and what I did to kind of actually launch this. So I've been preaching. Actually, let me bring my whiteboard up because I want to talk about this at a very high level first, and then we'll jump into the details. But we've talked about this before, but it's still it's very, very relevant from a strategy standpoint. And so I think it makes a little bit of sense for us to kind of just at a very, very high level, just talk about our strategy, because every conversation that I've had so far in the school community, this has been sort of the challenge that people have been having, is how do you effectively launch an app. What's going on? Where's my where the hell's my pencil? Okay, weird. Hang on. Oh, my free plan, right? Free plan. Yes. Create a team board. Okay, there we go. Okay, so challenge number one is most people have been having is around launching, right? LAUNCHING. Launching app. Okay, so we're just going to take a minute. We're just going to talk about this, so at least everybody's kind of on the same page. What's going on, like what the goal is. So, and what do we mean by launching? Okay, first of all, there's different definition of launch, and in this particular case, launch just means telling the world about your initial product, so that you can at least get some sort of initial traction. And this could be done in multiple formats, but the platform and the place that I've been thinking about the most when it comes to doing this properly is Reddit, and a little bit of Reddit, number one, and the other platform is on TikTok. So those are the two platforms I've been kind of experimenting on. Why? Because I think that it actually has the fastest feedback loop imaginable. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So let's just back up and talk about what is the initial goal. Because again, I'm doing it exactly with this application, and I just like literally in the last couple of days started testing different platforms. So I'm going to show you my actual results, which is not a lot right now, but I want to kind of show it to you so that you could understand, like, how do you think about this from a strategic standpoint? How do you think about this from a building standpoint? How do you think about this from a marketing standpoint? Because at the end of the day, there's no point in being able to build an app if you can't get it out in the world in some shape or fashion where you can get enough feedback to figure out whether you're on the right track or not, right? Like, that's the goal. Okay, so let's talk about that. What is the goal? The goal is feedback, right? So your goal, GOAL, feedback. Okay, that's goal number one. Get an initial feedback. All right. There's a second goal, which we'll talk about in a bit, which is getting not just feedback, but getting actual testimonials. So where are we? How do I get the pen back? Yeah, there. Now let's put it in red. So number two is getting some sort of a testimonial. TESTIMONALS. Okay, so you want to get some testimonials. So feedback and testimonials, these are the first two things that you need to basically focus on. Okay, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did on this app to start getting some of that, because that's basically what the mission is here, is to how do I actually get some initial feedback from the platform itself. Okay, all right, so this is the goal. First of all, what I did was I went to TikTok. Let's start with that. And I did two different posts. In my particular case, I did a post here, one, that basically just talks about vibe coding. So this, I did two different tests. Test number one was to figure out, because I'm using this for the school community, right? I'm trying to talk about the school community. I'm talking about vibe coding. I'm talking about all the things related to vibe coding. So I'm testing to see if I share my app journey, is anybody interested in using that to join the school community? That's a goal number one. So that's what I did here. And if you see, I kind of just walk through what I actually built. Okay. But I also have a second TikTok channel. And this is going to be my recommendation to you guys all together, is to have multiple different social media platforms so you could do different tests with different types of audience. So here I have a second TikTok channel. See, it looks a little scary. And as you can see, I'm up to 9,000 views on this one here. Now I'm actually pushing this a little bit more. This is pretty good. I like it. It gets too tedious having constantly enter thing. Okay, perfect. I got an example here for you. Perfect. So I'm going to message this guy right away. Okay, I'm going to message him. And I'll show you exactly what I've been doing to get the word out. And then we'll backtrack because it actually is a live thing. Okay, so I'm going to say, hey, thanks for with my content. Are you interested? Actually, we'll say, let me know if you're interested in trying the app. Let me know if you're interested in trying. Let me know if you're interested. If you're interested in trying the app, and I'll send a link. Perfect, right? So this is a really good example that just happened. So we're going to use that as actually our go-to. So what I did is the post that I did on this TikTok was a little bit different. It starts out with, I tried 20 budgeting apps. They all suck. So I built one. Okay. So that's what I put as my title. And again, I'm testing to figure out if there's people that are actually interested in my app. And by doing this, I'm literally just talking about it. There's no real selling or any single thing. It's just, hey, this is what I built. This is why I built it. Just want to see if there's any curiosity on the app itself. And so here's, the actual, this is what I did. Okay. So that's basically what I did. Now, the goal is to figure out how many people are actually liking it and how many people are actually commenting, right? And not many people comment. I only got 2 comments. I got 13 likes, however. So what I did was, I don't think I could do it on this one here, but I went into all of the people that liked it, and then I started messaging them on the back end. So I basically just sent them a message. For example, this guy, hey, thanks for engaging with my content. Let me know if you're interested in trying out the app, and I'll send you the link. Right? This guy actually knew, so I did that. This person here, I was like, hey, thanks for exact same thing. So I'm just doing that on the back end, right? Trying to drum up engagement for the app. Okay, so let's talk about the next step of this entire thing. What am I sending them to when I actually promoted the app? So with that, the second thing I did was I actually sent them a link, and the link is to Apply. The app is called Affordly, AFFORDLY /beta. Okay, so what I did is I created a personalized page. It's called Affordly /beta, and on there, it literally just says, hey, you're in. It has a video. We'll talk about the video in a bit. It has a link to the actual app. It says try the app now, and then you could click on the app to actually to sign up, right? In this video here, I describe exactly what I'm actually doing, why I built it again, telling people thanks for actually joining, and what I did is I actually walked them through exactly how to download it, because again, it's not in the App Store, it's not in the Google Play Store, it's not an iOS store yet. So I'm really just kind of just guiding them through that process, so at least they know what to do, and show them how to share it on their local phone by actually giving them a video to watch that then allows them to kind of join all together, right? This way I know exactly that one, people are not guessing, because some people know about PWA apps, personal web apps, and some people don't. So this way I can give you very, very explicit directions on exactly what to do. And then I log into the app, I show you exactly what happens, I walk you through the entire thing. So you're not guessing, there's no guesswork here, okay? I guide them through the entire process. I show them what the overview screen looks like, how to add a credit card, how to add a debt, how to add a budgeting for savings, for investment, how to add a transaction, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so I walked them through step by step. The video assumes that you know nothing and that you don't even remember who the hell I am, because that's the truth. Like, people are just kind of scrolling through, clicking on these things, they don't even know things. So that's basically what I did on that front. So going back to my I'm just checking my messages here, see if there's anybody. Yeah, okay. So going back to the goal, right? What is the goal? The goal is really just to get some feedback, as I mentioned at the start, right? We're not even at the testimonials part yet. We're just trying to get people to message us and give us some feedback to figure out whether there's actually something here or not, right? And in order to do that, we have to be proactive in messaging people consistently. Now, they might not respond to me. For example, this guy here, whoever this person is, has now responded to me, right? So what am I going to do? In another couple of days' time, I'm going to message him again and say, hey, just want to check out, see if you're still interested in that budgeting app that you think, right? I'm going to be proactive about it. And for the people that responded, for example, this girl here responded and she says, yeah, sure, no problem, thank you, right? I said, great, here's the link, blah, blah, blah. When I sent this link out, I didn't even have the proper landing pages yet. So I actually messaged her a day later and I said, hey, by the way, here's a link to better instructions. Okay. So I'm just sort of cleaning up my initial messages and thing. However, I did this. It was fine. I got some people that are interested in it. And then fast forward, I went over to Reddit. And funny enough, I actually got banned from Reddit in one group. How do I see my posts? I don't know how to see your posts on Reddit. I never could figure this out. Let me just see posts or comments. So I went to this particular comment for this particular thing, right? So this person is like, my personal financials, it's crap right now and blah, blah. They went through a whole spiel. And then I basically, was a comment that I did. And then I put a link to my app. Okay. I also, somebody else had a comment about something else. I put a link to my app again. Now I'm trying to be strategic about this because I actually got banned from one of the groups. So I just want to be clear with this. This is not 100% a long-term strategy. And you shouldn't just directly just drop the link. You should actually provide value first. And then after you provide value, then maybe you can connect with people and try to share the actual app itself, right? So this is the one I got banned for because I kind of did this. I shouldn't have done this here. So I got banned from this group here. I'm going to try to see if I could appeal it and do something, because they banned me for this, but they didn't ban me for this one here, which I thought was interesting, right? So what's the takeaway here? Okay, I got the app listed on a few places, some of my school community, etc. But I got the app listed on a few things, and all I'm trying to do is really just gauge interest. So let's just talk about that. There's a couple other things that you got to think about when you're doing this. Okay, number one is I got about 100 views so far. Again, I only put up this website literally within less than 24 hours. So in 24 hours, I got about 100, I call it active users, whatever that means. 507 event counts. Currently 3 active users in the last 30 minutes. So people are actually hitting it. I had 79 from Canada, 13 from the US, 2 from France, 1 from Ireland, 1 from the Philippines. And if you see here, social media, 72 from social, 32 direct, right? So obviously if you're going direct is because you obviously know about the actual URL itself. But for the most part, the people that are coming, the volume is coming from social media in itself, right? This is very, very early days, so there's not a lot of information here. But the point is that what I'm really doing is setting up a library of, or a repository of places where there's, people know about the app, they could actually test it, they could try it. And obviously between that and social media, I'm trying to see if I could proactively ping people to think. This is the work that you have to do to get your first set of early customers. Okay. This is what you have to do to get your first set of customers. And it's going to be like not a smooth process. There's no silver bullet. There's no, right or wrong other than making sure that you follow like things like the Reddit sort of subgroup guidelines. But the important thing that you do here is that you come up with a strategy so that you can consistently keep telling people about the app itself, right? And this again, this is only if I'm doing a B2C app, right? Because I'm trying to get feedback. 1 second here. Just trying to see what this looks like on. There we go. Okay, so what's next? Let's talk about testimonials. And actually, just to iterate, I think only so far, we only got about one person that actually signed up. I'm going to confirm that. By the way, I did the same thing for Instagram as well too. I posted the exact same thing on Instagram. Here. I have less engagement on Instagram. I don't have a big following on Instagram. I don't have a big following anywhere. But same thing applies. I basically just message the people directly. People that I know. Say Happy New Year's. Hey, here's a link to the app. Check it out. Let me know if you're interested. I put them to put the word finance, and so they did that. So just to give you an idea of, again, what I'm doing to get the initial set of interest in the mobile app, which is super, super important. Okay. All right. So with that, let's just talk. I'm just going to share the landing page. I'm going to share a couple other things that I actually did because I'm really trying to just guide you guys through the process of thinking about the pieces that you need to put in place. So the page that I built, the web page itself, affordly.app. Okay, I iterated on this a few times, and that's what I want to kind of share in this particular thing. So you see here, I got some screenshots. The screenshots are not 100% matched up, but they're good enough for now. So I just want to talk about just a little bit about this process altogether. So this was pretty straightforward. This was me just going to Lovable, right, which you guys know I've talked about 100 times over. Going to Lovable, asking them to sort of create a page. The text is about the same. However, what I did was, after I built the app, what I did is I went in here and I basically started taking screenshots of every single page, right? Tons of screenshots of all the different pages. And then use the screenshots by adding it to Claude. Let me show you where. This is my family app. 1 sec. So affordly. Right, so what I did is I basically took all those screenshots. Close. Yeah, there we go. So we could get some room. Took all the screenshots, brought them into my front-end website, put them in a folder called screenshots somewhere here. And then from there, just dropped them in as a bunch of screenshots and then got Claude to, one, review all of the screenshots, give them a proper name. So rename the entire folder, because when it came in, it was all like screenshot with the dates, right? So I got Claude to kind of do some cleanup work there for each one of the actual things. And then from there, add it to the website. So when I actually did it on Lovable, there was no screenshots to begin with, right? Lovable had no screenshots, so this is the Lovable version. Okay, this actually worked out really well because that was one of the problems. The only single downside is I took the screenshot and it had sort of a white background here, which I was too lazy to actually kind of make it transparent so that it could be a thing background. But that's, pretty straightforward. You could actually put that into LLM and get it to do it, or you could put it in Photoshop if you know Photoshop and get that going. I was just too lazy to do it, so I just decided not to do it. But you see here, so it has that white background, and here it automatically kind of put that background. However, because I actually did half decent screenshots, and the screenshots, just to be clear, is I used this as a sort of the thing, right? So obviously you just go down to a different section, click here, for example, take another screenshot, go down here, take another screenshot, etc., etc. And now I have these screenshots. I'm going to obviously use them for the App Store and for all the other places, right? And so it has all of the pieces that I want. So I definitely will end up cleaning up the border itself, but it was able to add them to the website, no problem. Right, we got our pricing page, we got our sign-in page, and this is a very, very landing page. So the sign-in page goes to the mobile app directly. The start for free takes me to the beta page. So the same one that I was sending to people directly through a URL, through Instagram, TikTok or whatever. That's what I'm doing in this particular case. So 1 second, I'm going to try to see if I could enable boop, boop, boop. Okay, give me 1 second here. Gonna try to see if I can. So add new destination, not logged in, that's fine. Remove that. I'm gonna remove this for now. And just give me 1 more second. I just want to see if I could get some of the other platforms going. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna ignore that for now. I was trying to see if I could get the other platform. I got a problem with with streaming software and how to actually add destinations to it while it's actually live. So annoying. Finish, edit. Okay, I'm gonna try for 1 more minute. If I can't get it, then I'm just gonna continue. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's preview. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, so what's next? So, like I said, the goal here is like this beta page here is really just to kind of get people interested, right? Like, I don't know who's visiting this page. I don't know whatever. It's a PWA app, so I have to put some instructions. The good news is, right, I have some instructions for iOS. I got some instructions for Android. I tell people exactly where to go, exactly what to do. And like I said before, I walk them through specifically step by step on the actual app itself. So I've given people just enough so that they understand that number one, it's not going to cost you any single thing but your time. Number two is that I'm solving a very specific problem for me and I'm basically sharing it with you. And if you find value from it, number three is what I would like is some sort of feedback. That's first and foremost, the most important thing. And then secondly, if you love it, then you could get me a testimonial, right? And what am I going to do with those testimonials? I'm going to take those testimonials. I'm going to come back to this page here and I'm going to put some, screenshots of quotes or 5-star reviews or whatever it is in here. And I'm going to use that as a hoist for the next level, right? So if you were to think of it like a timeline, right? Just to make sure that we're kind of on the same page, right? So it's like this. Landing page first, right? Landing page first, get initial interest. While you're doing that, you're building in the background. Okay, so you're actually building the app. When you're doing that, then you're going to, you got to experiment with a few posts. IMENT, experiment. Okay, and what you're going to do is you just try different platforms. So TikTok. I'm going to show you how you can actually boost your TikTok pro thing as well too. So TikTok, IG, and Reddit in my particular case. REDDIT. What else is inside of here? Facebook groups. CABOOKGROUPS, right? Facebook groups, definitely inside of here, right? And as I showed you before, see here, this person had a problem. I put a link to this. I basically put a link to my app, and that's translating directly into actual traffic to the page. And by actual traffic, I mean, you know, it's not a lot of traffic because I literally just spin this up yesterday. But the point is, I'm seeing that there's actual people that are going to the website, and I'm seeing that thing. So you have to absolutely set up a Google Analytics, right? So put that inside of there, right? So you experiment. Now, one of the things that I want to kind of just highlight with the experimentation is when I posted on TikTok, I posted 2 different videos. Okay. And one of them only got like, I think it was like 180 views, if I remember correctly. And it kind of died off. And then the other one got 300 and let's call it 320, somewhere around there. Okay. So naturally, the one that got the more views, that's the one that I pushed. Right. So what I did is I took this one here, and TikTok has a kind of a boost program where you could sort of like, you know, pay them more money to kind of get it out to most people. And in this particular case, I pushed a little bit too hard. I should have done the cheaper one, but I just tried to see if I could push it. So it was like $17 to kind of see if we could get traffic going to the page, right? And what they're going to do, they're going to basically take that same video, put a button on it. The button will have a call to action, sign up now, book now, whatever. What I did was I took the button, I put sign up now, but it sent me to a landing page, a sales page. That really shouldn't be the thing. What in the future, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it directly to the App Store, right? And then hope that they actually just download the app by just looking at the profile. Right now, I kind of have an in-between step, and it's not really the best thing. I just wanted to see what would happen if I just throw some money at this here, $20 or whatever, just to kind of see if that post would work. So that's what you're seeing at this. Where did I put it? All right. So going back to this for a second here. Let me make this bigger as well too. Actually, I don't need that one bigger. So here, TIK. Profile, right? So if you notice, most of my videos don't get a lot of views. Hundreds, 239, 250, right? On average, I'm like 200, sub 200 views on any of my videos. This one here, 9,000. Okay. The reason why it's 9,000 is because I've paid TikTok $20 to boost it to kind of see if it's actually going to give me some more likes and engagement. It's not. So it's not really performing that well, to be honest with you. So here, let me see view with analytics. Right. So I got 9,000 views, total play time 7 hours, average watch time 2 seconds. So I'm way below what it should be for any kind of conversion. 1% watched the full video. I got 1 new follower as a result of it, right? So 10,000 to 1, terrible. And also, right, but the truth is, I didn't really do this video with the mindset of I'm going to promote it. It was really just a test. It was just a random test to kind of see what happens if I just threw a little bit of money off of it thing. And then so total views, yeah, so new viewers, returning 7%, non-followers, mostly in Canada, which I find interesting. It because I was asking for specifically trying to get people to go to the landing page, so it seems to be hyper focus on that. And then yeah, right, so just not a lot of impressions and views altogether. And then this one here, 203, right? And like I said, we got 2 comments from it, right? So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that there's obviously a lot more work to do, but the game is that you need to just be consistent with just putting out a little bit of content, right? And then testing with some paid. Put out some content, see which one kind of pops off, test. Okay. All right. Let's see if I could, well, I got nobody on the stream here. I'm gonna see if I could push this thing up. Test in 1, 2. Yeah, I don't know. I'll add output, overlay. Yeah, I'm just a little bit baffled because I'm just trying to figure it. Anyway, that's fine. Okay, so next up, we're gonna basically switch over gears a little bit now. We're gonna talk about the AI portion of things. Okay, so we're going to. Hello, sir. How's it going? How are you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Are you just joining in, right? You are, right? I'm sure you are. Thanks for joining. Thanks for stopping by. Just to give you a little quick recap on where we are, what we're talking about is, so the I wanted to come up with a proper app that I could actually launch. And this one here I'm documenting and launching in the App Store. I'm behind in the documentation, but that's basically what we're doing. And so what I did was, one, took the app that we did last week, spent a little bit more time kind of polishing it a little bit more, getting it to a place where it actually has some actual real world use cases. And then now what I'm basically doing is testing the market to figure out whether there's an appetite for another budgeting app in the App Store. So welcome. And yeah, thanks for saying hi. So just to give you a quick recap here. So I actually did a post on TikTok and I boosted that TikTok post. I'm sending people to sort of a kind of a landing page, which is just a very basic page that kind of gives you sort of a guidance on how it works. And then from there, get them to hopefully sign up. So that's basically what I've done. Here for sure till I watch the last week video part. Got you. Cool, cool, cool. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so by the way, did you ever get that app launch from the app? I know you were doing Flutter the other day. Is that still a thing for you? I know you were building a Flutter app, and you had something. I've been contemplating very heavily between. I've been back and forth on Flutter and what do you call it? Expo. And to be honest with you, I do not like Expo, but Expo it has a better deployment story. Yeah, it just has a better deployment story. So, all right. Anyway, we'll continue. Let me know though. I'm kind of curious on where you are in your journey with your Flutter app. Okay, so like I said, I got my TikTok views, I got my IG, I got some Reddit, I got some Facebook going. Some of the posts that I did on IG got switched to working on something else. Honestly, stuck with the Flutter app I was working on. Oh, really? Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, you know what? So yeah, I'm gonna do both. I'm contemplating right now on. I'm trying to decide. I started working on a shell for this application with React Native Expo. And honestly, the only reason is because they just have a better story on the Expo stuff, as I mentioned to you before, right? They just have a better, like, it's just easier to kind of get this thing up and running in the App Store. And I don't want to do the work. I just want to ship stuff, as you know what I mean? I don't want to like spend the amount of time, like really just going through the nitty gritty to kind of, figure out the best apps. I got too many apps going, as you know, and you're in the same boat as well too. Just way too many apps going. So I've been shifting back to Expo just because I could keep adding apps to this and just keep shipping them, and it gives you some basic metrics altogether. So, but yeah, I agree with you. Man, my messages are coming in slow. Yeah. So anyway, it's up in the air. But do I like the fact that Flutter is a native language. It compiles to binary. I got proper what I call C# level, testability. Yes. Can you do the same thing in JavaScript? Sure. Is it more annoying? Yes. Are there more annoying bugs in Expo? 100%. So yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. We fight through it. So yeah. Let's see what I got here. Viewers, 1, downloads, 2. So let me just see. I'm just checking messages here because I got 2 streams going at the exact same time here. So welcome to interactive view. Real-time creators must be. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even actually put a message in that one. Okay, that's fine. Okay, moving forward. So the next thing I wanted to do is kind of talk a little bit about Cloudflare AI and what's going on over in that world, and just talk about some of their offerings. I've been really slow in picking up some of the Cloudflare stuff. Cloudflare Workers AI. So we're going to kind of shift gears. We're going to talk a little bit about this. If you guys got any questions about sort of the launch thing and any single thing around it, just put it in the chat, and then I'll kind of jump back to it. But I want to really kind of zone in on this side of the platform and talk about some of these tools, because one of the goals with the actual app itself. Let me get rid of this. I don't need this. one of the goals with the app itself is that you should be able to come in here and snap receipts. So you can scan a receipt, click on allow, and then you could snap a receipt of some sort. Fail to create a blob. Oh, that's because right, I have a I'm in an emulator here. But the point is, you could snap a picture of a receipt and then have it do AI on top of it to kind of get things. And we're going to use Cloudflare workers on that. Now, there's a couple of things that I definitely want to kind of talk about here, because Cloudflare worker is kind of a complex topic, right? There's lots of moving parts altogether. So first of all, we're going to talk about what it is, because just to level set, make sure that everybody kind of understands sort of like what is the mission, what's the goal of the Cloudflare worker AI agent, which is almost like it's kind of like a separate. There's some things here. There's agents concepts. There's workflow concept. You got tools concepts, right? You got the agent internals, human in the loop. There's just a lot of stuff here, and then calling LLMs, external LLMs altogether. So let's just talk just a little bit at a very high level, like what is it that they're actually trying to do without going in too much in the weeds, and what it is. So first of all, there's one big problem altogether, right? Which is we live in a world where there's like 100 different models coming out every single day. This is a huge problem. This is a nightmare. There's just so many different workers that are coming in. So you're gonna always get to this place where, let's just kind of back up. Okay, you got just the big ones, as we know, OpenAI, OpenAI, okay? You got Claude. And we're not gonna even go into the rest, right? We got Gemini, Gemini, right? And then you got, 100 other plus models. It's probably more than that right now. It's like 1,000 or something plus. I don't even know, right? 1,000 plus models. Okay, so the problem is that if you write your application, if you write your code, let's say this is your app, and you write, and your code is here. Okay, if you write your code and you need to call an API, you could use the OpenAI API SDK. You could go to their website, you could put their SDK in your application. SDK, and which is a very good application. By the way, you could do that, or you could do the same thing for Claude SDK, right? Okay. Obviously, you could do the same for Gemini, etc. The problem is that if for whatever reason you're running your code in your application and it's not working correctly, you kind of run into this problem where you need to kind of swap the SDK. So you end up having to replace this one and replace it with this one here, right? And it's like, okay, now Claude is the new hot, or Gemini is the new hot thing, so I'm going to basically swap it over to that. And this just becomes a real problem to sort of swap SDKs. So what we really want to do is basically prevent our application from having to deal with the noise, okay? So instead of us writing directly to the SDK, we're just going to do a layer of abstraction in between. And that layer of abstraction is what the Cloudflare AI worker is. So instead of doing that, we're going to shift it. We're going to put it this way. And then what we'll do is in here, we're going to put Cloudflare, CLOUDFLARE, and it's Cloudflare Workers AI. So I'm just going to put WAI, okay? SDK. Oops, SDK. Okay, so the Cloudflare Workers SDK kind of sits here in this middle tier between you and the different APIs. That's the key. So this is what makes this so powerful, and this is what makes this search a great concept altogether, because you can you can remove your dependency on any one of the models. So as we know, you're going to wake up tomorrow and there's going to be a hot new model tomorrow. And then the next day you're going to wake up and you're going to get another hot new model, right? And so it's just going to keep changing over and over and over. So by doing it this way, we have this layer of abstraction, and this layer of abstraction really gives us a sense of, well, independence, right? Now you're still dependent on something, but at least you're dependent. You could easily swap this layer, okay? Cloudflare, by the way, is not the only company that's doing this. So I just want to talk about this for a second because I don't want, like, I'm not trying to just sell Cloudflare here. I have no beef in this race other than using the best thing. Microsoft has, if you want to do enterprise stuff, and most people do this one here, Microsoft AI Foundry. So Foundry is the Microsoft equivalent, Azure AI Foundry, or what they're calling it now. Every day they keep changing the name. Okay, so this is a platform that you can do the same thing with. They give you an SDK. You bring in the API for, sorry, the SDK for AI Foundry. You put that in your code. You have one key, and then on the back end, you could keep adding API. You could keep adding integrations, whether it's to Claude or Gemini or whatever it is on that side, and then you could tell it in one line of code which AI model you want to kind of work with. So this really, really gives you a lot of flexibility because it allows you to do a couple things within your app. Number one is the models are not they're not created equally. We know this for sure. But the other thing is that it's not, the cost is different across the models too, right? So let me just see, where is this, right? So take, for example, OpenAI, let's just say it's $5, right? This one might be $10, right? And Gemini might say, let's say $7 or something like that, right? So now you, as a developer, you really have to kind of think about, okay, if I am doing XYZ task, if I'm sending an email, which model do I want to choose? Maybe for sending an email, you go through Cloudflare, and maybe for sending an email, you want the email to be written with Claude. But then maybe for design, you want to do something with graphics or something, maybe it's Gemini. And then for OpenAI, it might be something with, I don't know, telling a story or whatever it is, right? Like, it doesn't really matter. The point is, you want the flexibility of being able to swap the models accordingly and think. The other value that Cloudflare workers give you on top of it, I'm talking about Cloudflare workers, we're back to that now, right, is the fact that they actually allow for login, which is a really big deal, right? So you don't have to do this in your app anymore. Login, they'll take care of login. G-I-N-G, right? Things that people are adding on top of this, which I haven't actually experimented with the Cloudflare following this, but eval, this is a big deal. E-V-A-L, okay? Evaluation is a big deal. So what do we mean by eval? Eval is, for example, let's say you write a specific email. Let's say an email comes in and the email has to respond with a positive answer, yes or no, let's just say, okay? So what you want to do is you want to basically take that email, put it into an evaluation guide as a foundation, and then test it against different models to see which models are going to probably give you back the answer yes or no. It's basically a unit test, or if you're familiar with like testing, it's a testing, but it's, again, the models are not deterministic, so we're kind of in the state where we have to use these sort of like very loosely grading system to kind of test things, and that's kind of what that eval is. It's a way to kind of evaluate the model, so that in the event that you swap the model and you run your eval and you have a regression, at least you know why. That's the idea, right? And this becomes very, very important if you're doing something at scale, because the last thing that you want to do is you want to build out your app and then have it be inconsistent across users and because across sort of things that you're doing, right? So that's kind of what we're solving here with the eval type of stuff. And then there's some other things here. Let's just look at it very quickly. Getting started. Overview. Sorry. What's the other one? Batteries included. So, oh, state management. How do I forget state management? Yes. Okay. So, what is state management? This is a big deal also. So, state management is one of the challenge with, and you'll quickly run into this if you're doing any single thing at scale. You'll definitely run into this problem here. So state. Let's just put state here. STATE. Okay, so one of the biggest problems that you'll run into when you're sort of running your app is you might have okay, the best way that let me see if there's a way that I could describe it and that would make sense. Let's say let's say you have a series of events that needs to happen. Okay, so let's say that you need to do 5 steps to complete a task, some kind of task. Doesn't matter what the task is, but let's say you have to complete a task. It's going to take 5 steps, right? Step 1 and step 2, okay, you could get a quick answer from the LLM, right? Step 2, you could also get a quick answer. Step 3 requires some sort of human, HUMAN, to do some sort of validation. And then step 4 and step 5 require you to connect to another third-party LLM to do some more advanced stuff. And it might take a while, like generate a video or I don't know, something like that, right? So you can use your code with their SDK to send out the LLM, get back the response, have it sent it over to task number 2, go out to LLM, get a response, and then it puts a state here where it's waiting for the human being to approve or deny. And the flow, this flow here is still kind of stateful, meaning that whenever that human comes in the loop, that human could come in like a day or 2 days later, or maybe 10 days later, or 30 days later, it doesn't really matter. And when then they could approve or deny it, and only then will the agent kind of move on to step 4 and step 5. That's what I mean by stateful, right? And so what Cloudflare has done is basically kind of build, see, they're calling it batteries included, basically state, right? Agents come with built-in state management altogether. And that state management allows them to persist agents across restarts, right? Any sort of like restart in the process to make sure that you're at least keeping on track. That's kind of the mission and that's the goal with it. All right. So if you don't have state, you're going to run into some real problems. Set the initial state of the agent, just then do something, synchronize the state, right? API. So yeah, those are kind of the core of API state. So we're going to try and see if we could actually add some functionality in our app, specifically around state. Around state. Okay, so we got our app. And let's talk about making some state. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go. First of all, what I actually want to do is I want to actually figure out what are the actual things that I could do to improve the app from an AI standpoint. And I'm going to kind of come up with a list that we could use. So we're just going to ask a very generic question, first of all. I'm going to use Sonnet 4.0. Okay, so based on the features that I have on the website and based on the features that I have on the app itself and the features overview, can you come up with another document that could make some recommendations of some of the things that I could build in terms of AI features for the app? Okay, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to see if we can just come up with a bunch of AI features, right? Because again, we're going to try, the goal is with a business model with the app is that we're going to give away the app for free However, we're going to give you some AI features, and those features might cost you a little bit more if you wanted them, right? And this way, I have a way of stepping up the tier, right? So we're always going to charge you $1 per month for the app. That's the mission. We're going to charge you $1 per month for the app. And if you want additional features, if it's completely optional, all the features are free, then you can pay these additional AI credits. And you could buy AI credits to give you recommendations, guide maybe on like how to get out of debt, or maybe how to process your transactions better, or how to like come up with a strategy on paying off your debts, whatever that strategy is. Like, we're going to give you sort of like an AI recommendation, and then we're going to give you sort of like ways that you could follow up with it. And I think that's a perfect use for Cloudflare AI workers. So we're just going to I wanted to kind of think about the problem first and kind of come up with its own recommendation, and then we're going to use that to kind of pair it with Cloudflare AI workers in itself. All right. Boop, boop, boop. So I want to see some of the models. Let's just look at some of the models that they have in the meantime. So there's GPT, open source model, which I actually haven't really evaluated for myself. We got text to speech, we got summarization models. You got text embeddings models. We got text to image models. The Flux models, I've kind of heard good things about them. We got image to text. So image to text we could experiment with, definitely for sure. And then image classification. So we definitely, okay, we're gonna try image. We're gonna go with a small model. We're gonna go with image to text. We're bringing this llama and see if we could actually get some of that, some of this going. Boo, boo, boo. By the way, if you're on TikTok and you're getting any value from this, if you could give me a heart, that'd be great. Say hi in the chat, by the way. Let me know who you are, what you're interested in, what you're building. Ask a question. How do I change my scene again? There we go. Mobile view, ask anything, just chat in. Yeah, what are you building? What are you doing? Oh, I should fix this also. Oh, it's so annoying. How do I fix it? So annoying. Crop. Cancel. Yeah, if you're on TikTok, there we go. Come on. Crop again. Oh, it's so annoying. Okay, hang on. Click on that. Click on crop. Flip on this, click on crop. And then bring that here. There we go. Yeah. Say hi. Let me know what you're actually doing and what you're actually building. And I'm happy to ask any questions about AI or vibe coding or anything of the sort. But right now we're basically just building a mobile app. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got on so what did it come up with? What was the name of the document that it came up with? AI features roadmap. Okay, so let's pull this out. We're going to pull this into GPT just to be able to make it a little more readable. and a little bit more chat. And then let's bring it and put it into okay. So help me come up with a to-do list and help me come up with a guidance on how I would do this properly using Cloudflare AI workers. So we're going to take this list. We're just basically just going to just drop it inside of here. And then what we'll try to do is kind of come up with a plan for it. We're going to use GPT to kind of help us with that all together. But yeah, do give me a like if you're getting any value to this video. Like, thumbs up, whatever works for you. Yeah, the TikTok streaming platform is pretty good. Post your live highlights to reach more viewers. Okay, so here we got. All right, let's see what we got. So here's a practical Cloudflare. Here's a practical Cloudflare first to-do list. Do it properly guide for building these AI features, blah, 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 Cloudflare workers, queues, vectorize. This is optimized for phase one, receipt plus OCR, category plus cash flow. So API worker authenticated, create and upload. So you know what we should do? We should actually create a separate worker specifically for the work for the AP, for all the AI stuff. OCR worker cruise consume pulls receipt image from Vision 1, Gemini or alternative structure, so it's receipts. Categorize worker queues, internal services worker, forecast worker, compute 30-day cash flows alert. Okay, so storage R2, D1, vectorize key 1, queues, receipt OCR, categorize OKR, forecast OCR. Okay, so we're gonna do the we're gonna do the receipt OCR. We're gonna do the categorization. Make every consumer do it properly principle so it doesn't turn into spaghetti. So create AI boundary services. So all AI calls go through one model service. Vision receipt, yeah. Keep this prompt. Always use structured JSON. So force LLM to return JSON only view. Validate SOD. Deterministic. If first AI, deterministic first, AI second. So extract merchant mapping, normalize merchant, vectorize, store feedback, to-do list. Receipt OCR. So I want to work on the receipt and the categorization because I think those are the two that are very predictive cash flow. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to do the receipt. Okay, give me a plan for just focusing on the receipt ACR. I currently already have the D1 database to store receipts. I already have the R2 database for storing the receipts. What I basically want to do is whenever I upload a new receipt, that a queue gets kicked off in the background that will call a worker that will then basically do the extracting of the actual information and then saving it in a uncategorized transaction list with status so that we could then go and further enhance it with AI, putting categories, making sure that the dollar value is correct, all that type of stuff. The receipts might actually be a credit card statement, like it might be a PDF of a credit card statement with a whole bunch of transactions, or it might be just a single receipt that we need to extract the information. So those are the two different categories of stuff. Or we might be uploading a bunch of CSV files. So we need to think about those three things. Okay, so just to recap what we're doing here. What we're trying to do is on this part of the app where you get to scan a receipt, is we're going to basically, whenever you scan a receipt, it's going to upload that to R2, which is what it's doing, Cloudflare R2. That's one. And then secondly, whenever it gets up to the R2, in the background, we're going to trigger a queue that will then start doing further processing on the jobs in the background itself, right? So what does that look like? We're going to we're gonna so we got the app. We're gonna upload a receipt. So let's say this is a receipt. The receipt could be two different types of receipt. It could be this, or it could be a statement, right? In either case, it needs to translate to a series of transactions. So in the case of the receipt, it might be one transaction. In the case of the statement, it's probably going to be more transactions. So in order to do that, we need to do OCR here. OCR. And that OCR will basically take those and turn that into transactions. And that is what's going to go into the database. And then that's going to trigger a queue. Q-U-E-U-E. And then that queue, we're going to use that in order to go to each one of the records in the database and then further enhance it with AI. Okay, so that's going to be a mission. All right, cancel. So hopefully that makes some sense. Okay, so let's jump back to GPT for a second. Got it. So here's a clean to-do list with write receipt OCR ingestion pipeline. Cloudflare built around R2, PDF sequencing, receipts metadata extraction job, categorize validation as a separate phase. So the pipeline, you wanted a high level. So upload, create a receipt, record, in queue, extract the job, extract worker, write stage action. So flow. Client upload files. Yes, we got that. API worker creates a receipt in a row. In D1, metabase upload, API worker in queue, message to extract queue. Detox, yes. Okay, D1, additional minimal scalable. So you already have a receipt stored, keep that. Receipts extract, right? So stage transactions, receipt summarization, this is what work here, extract. Okay, so we're gonna go with this. I think I got all the pieces here. All right, so what are we gonna do now? So we're gonna create a new backend. And we're gonna use we're gonna go with the Opus models because we need some details here. So we need to create a backend that will basically handle processing the receipts whenever they get uploaded. So every time a new receipt gets uploaded, a receipt can either be a CSV file, it could be a credit card statement, or it can be an actual single receipt. When it gets stored in R2, from there we need to drop it onto the queue and then do additional processing. So we need to create additional backends that will process that information, separate backends from the current workers, obviously share the same database, etc. The goal is so that we can independently extract all of the items from, let's say, a statement, and then create a hold in place transaction for them, and then have AI automatically categorize those items, or leave them to the human to categorize through the UI. Okay, so we're going to drop all that stuff in, and then we're just going to kind of wait and hopefully chat with some people in the meantime while we're doing that. Boop, boop, boo. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Ba, 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 ba. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. There's quite a bit of moving parts there, but again, we're not messing with the front end of the application. All we're doing is just doing things on the back end. So what we're really trying to do is we're trying to make sure that there's some layer of isolation between the different steps, right? Okay, so now I have a good understanding of the current system. Let me create a comprehensive receipt processing pipeline with the database migration in mind. And then we'll go from there. I'm going to have to experiment with different streaming hours as well. Okay, so receipt extraction job. So what is this? So receipt processing pipeline migration adds a table for extracted jobs, stage transactions, and extract summaries, part of the document processing pipeline. So track processing state. Document ID reference the documented ID. Status in queue processing. Okay, yeah, so we're going to do that. You want to do the timeline. Great. File, detect results, process results. R2 reference, created that. So stage transaction table. So uncategorized list of extracted results. So create the table for stage. This is where extracted data lands before user review. Right. Extracted merchant amount. Got that. AI extraction confidence. Categorization. Yeah. Dedupe hash. Yes. Lincoln. Final transaction ID. Audit. Tenant job document. So aggregate views of extracted results per document. What does this do? Tenant 1 summary per document. Total. Okay, gotcha. Quality metrics statement. Okay, so update document table. So add a new column to existing documents table for extraction status using alter since extraction table already exists. Add extraction status column if not exists. SQLite, blah. Merchant mapping table, store. Okay. All right, so we'll see what happens there. So that's a lot of stuff going on at once. Like there's a lot of moving parts here, but the cool thing is that it doesn't actually affect any single thing on the UI front, right? Because the process here on the UI side is that we're basically just adding a receipt, and then it's just kind of sitting in the background, and then from there, all of the backend stuff goes like keeps handling it on the backend side, right? So. Receipt processor. I might have to clean up this UI a little bit here, but let's see. And we want to make sure that, what else? So here. So got the app itself. We got the two different types of receipts. So you know what we want? In a case where it's a statement, we want to somehow validate. So one of the problems, let me just look at the statement here. Okay, I actually got a bunch of credit card actual statements here, right? Um, we need some way to, which I don't think there is a way to do. So it's almost like for like a credit card statement, I want to be able to count the amount of line items, so that we have some kind of a way to validate how many line items were extracted, right? Because I need to be able to kind of manually look at the statement and be like, there was 100 lines in here, you only entered 5, something like that, right? That you got to be a way to kind of do that, else you're going to run into sort of a problem. So we have to kind of think about that a little bit. Let me write that down before I forget it. So count. I'll just do it on there. UNT, count of lines. Yeah, we need some way to do this, else you're going to run into a really big problem where you have no way of validating the document that was uploaded and how many lines were inside of it. Excuse me. Mr. Chris, how are you doing, man? You're the only person on TikTok. Hi. If you're getting any value from this, do me a favor and press the heart button. And also, we're a brand new channel here, so we're pretty new. But more importantly, what are you working on? Do you have you vibe coded anything? Tell me about your app, Mr. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Chris Sanare, Sanare. Yeah, is that right? So, what are you working on, man? Anything at all? Yeah, okay, so like I said, so this might take a while because there's a lot of stuff that is doing here, right? Like this is not a trivial update to the backend. More importantly, though, is I want to kind of make sure that from a Cloudflare implementation, every agent has built-in state management capabilities, including built-in storage and synchronization between agents and factory. So persist across agent restarts database permanently. Automatically serialize, deserialize, so you can store any JSON data immediately and consistently. Agent reader writes, right? Thread safety, so fast state so state API. So every agent has built-in state management capability. You can set up the agent state directly using this state. So you could say this state, state counter, handle incoming message, on handle state. So if you're using TypeScript, you can also provide agent state parameter. So let's go with what are agents? Agents are AI systems that execute unlike traditional automation, follow as pretend, nonlinear deterministic workflows, deterministic execution path. So the only thing I don't know how to do here, and let me just while we're waiting on all this code to kind of write, I'm kind of curious about this because I actually don't know how to do it. So I'm gonna paste that, and then I'm gonna go back to this URL here. And I'm curious. So based on Cloudflare documentation, how would I set up a dynamic workflow? So in other words, I have a series of workflows that I'd like to create on the fly. So for example, like send a text SMS, send an email after 3 days, send a Facebook notification after 5 days. So I have all these different sort of like functionalities, and I want to be able to dynamically sort of control the state of the workflow state. How would I implement that with Cloudflare Workers API and the dynamic setting in a multi-tenant environment? Give me the breakdown, step by step. Yeah, because this is kind of a problem, right? Like it's one thing to kind of have a predefined state. It's another thing to have the AI do it. And I'm actually working on that in another project. So just to kind of stray away from our conversation for a bit here, I have this application here. It has, if you go to settings and I go to, no, sorry, if I go to playbooks, right? See here, I could actually add a playbook. And then I can edit a playbook. I can't link to it because it doesn't link into it, but playbook / details. I think it is. No, I don't remember the URL. But anyway, so I can add playbooks, but the playbooks themselves are customizable depending on what's going on, and so you need a way to kind of dynamically set dynamically set up a workflow, and it's dependent on the user and dependent on the specific task that you're actually doing, right? So that's kind of a little more complex use case. We'll see what it comes back with. Let's see what we're doing here. Let's see what we've done so far. Let me look at the documentation, since it might be relevant pattern, blah, blah. Now I have a good understanding of the current system. Let me create a comprehensive receipt processing pipeline. I'll start. Now I'll create the types. Now let me create a CSV parser. Now let me create a PDF text extractor. Now let me create a receipt extractor that will use Cloudflare OCR. Now let me create a main worker that will handle the queue consumer and route to the appropriate extractor. Good. Now let me update the to-do list. Now let me back up Wrangler. Now let me add text extracted document. Now I have a good understanding of the upload flow. Add an endpoint to trigger extraction. Okay, so register. I need to register a new router in the main backend index. I've completed a comprehensive receipt processing pipeline. Here's what we do. Okay, so we got extractors, bank statement, PDF parsing, receipt extractor, OCR, the main work with queue consumer. Duplicate detection. Okay, so one of the things that let me just put this here. So if I'm uploading a statement, I need some kind of summary that's going to tell me how many lines were properly extracted and turned into individual transactions from a statement. This way a human can actually look at the actual image of the statement and compare it with what was extracted by the AI and fact check the numbers. This is very, very important because for each one of those line items, there's going to be individual categorization and individual things. So we need to kind of get a summary for the statement. In other words, you upload a statement, and let's just say that the statement had 1,000 lines. The AI should say, the summary should say, we found 1,000 lines. We were able to match 300 properly categorized, and 400 of them were not categorized properly. And then this is what you need to be sort of manually categorizing. Right, so that's a lot. That's a lot of moving parts there altogether. And if we could get that right, then the AI can basically manage all of the receipts, all of the processing, all of the back end, and we can then kind of come up with things. So let me see. All right, switching gears to this one here. Let me just see what this has. So Cloudflare native way to build dynamic, create on the fly workflows, SMS, email with durable database, multi-tenant isolation, give two pattern A recommended Cloudflare workers, your durable workflow runner, sleep for 2 days, raise for thing. Pattern B, agent SDK, your per instance schedule state management system, Schedules tens of thousands of future tasks per instance, built-in state scheduling. Your per instance scheduler. Decide what dynamic means to your system. So you decide, I have a series of workflows I'd like to create on the fly. In practice, what that means is workflow definitions are data JSON, step delays, templates condition. Workflow instances are durable. They survive restarts and can wake up later. They can pause, cancel, blah, blah, blah. Cloudflare pieces maps cleanly to that. Workflow chains, retry state, blah, 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 explicit sleep. Events, params, pass, and yeah, okay, agent sync. Okay, so what's the second version of that? So data mode, multi-tenant friendly. Step 1, template, delay 3 days, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Workflow. Okay. Pattern A, recommended. Use Cloudflare workers as durable runner. Resolve around tenant. Leads workflow definition. Creates workflow instance. Workflows are built for long running durable. Yeah, I don't know about this process here. I have to think about this a little bit more. This is a little more complicated than this. So, yeah, it's a little more complicated than that. Okay, let's go back to what we're actually doing. So let's see where we're at. So it says, now let me add an endpoint specifically for the items human being point to watching. Receipt. Okay, so we should be able to test this backend pretty soon once this batch of thing is done. And I have a bunch of receipts. Actually, I should get some more receipts, but I do have. We'll get a couple of receipts from the internet, but I'm going to use this one as I'm going to use this actual statement as an example as well too. So we'll see. Almost there. What is this? Real-time view count. Total views. Gifters. New followers. Likes. And on my YouTube's this. Okay, almost there. Almost there. Yeah. So receipt extraction summary. So critical. This is the main table for displaying extraction results to the user. Total rows, lines parsed correctly, lines that failed parsing, auto-categorized by AI, manual categorization, still need categorization. So new, needs review, duplicate, accepted, rejected, merge. Perfect. It's also keeping track of the confidence score. That's cool. Extraction queue log. So add a new column to the existing documents table for extraction status. Alter table since it does not already exist. Since it already exists. Yeah, okay. Source AI user system. Merchant mapping. Okay, that's cool. I've implemented a concurrency extraction summary that lets the user fact check the AI extraction results. Here's built-in results. So can you provide some sort of a report on the front end for the UI that will basically allow this to happen? And also we need to be able to see the status on the UI for the receipts. So somewhere on the menu and under the documents, my documents, we should be able to, under there should be some sort of tab or something, or somewhere where we could kind of see all the documents that are currently being processed and sort of that results of the processed documents, and so we can kind of see them. Also, I can't right now, for any document that I upload, I don't know have a way to see the actual image of the document. I need to be able to see the image of the document that was uploaded. Okay, and then we're going to do a deployment and we'll start testing. We'll see what's going on, where the problems are, where the issues are. In the meantime, while that's going on, I'm kind of curious. By the way, if you want to try the app out, I'll drop the link in the chat. Try okay. All right. Never waste a promotion, even if it's not a lot of users on there. Okay, so now let's create a comprehensive document management UI that shows processing status, extraction summaries, and allow invitation, viewing the agent. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna try to see if we could do that, and that's going to hopefully allow us to test it pretty soon. All right. By the way, I gotta say I'm pretty happy with what my UI looks like for this. Lovable is pretty good at doing UIs. I will admit this. Like, this is something that I would have taken forever to do back in the day, and it's just kind of crazy that I could just do it at this level. So, one thing I don't like is that weird white line that actually shows up there. See that? Annoying. It's a stupid little white line. But like I said, like the design, the call to action, the fact that I was able to just take these screenshots, snap them up, and just kind of get them going right away. And then you have, like, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And I'm going to experiment. The other thing I'm going to experiment with here in order to kind of promote this app is to try and see if I could use some AI avatars. So it's not just me that's promoting it, it's people in different look, different feel, different things, right? So I could kind of just experiment with a different thing. Thanks for the heart, by the way, whoever just hearted me on TikTok there. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm gonna experiment with its own TikTok channel and have an AI avatar that's basically just kind of talking about the app that is not me. I saw there's a guy that's doing this on one of his things. Actually, I don't know which tool he's using for it, but where he could just talk naturally and the AI is just basically just in real time swapping him for somebody else. And I think that's actually gold, especially if you're going to be promoting the app, because what you really want to do is you want to have the studies have already shown that different demographics appeal to different people, like obviously, right? So in other words, you got an ethnic group of people, Black, right? It just appeals to more Black people. You got a white Asian woman that appeals to the white women, white male, right? Like, so you kind of want to, in order for you to be able to properly maximize your user base, you have to appeal and market to those people individually. And it can't be a biased thing like, oh, well, nobody wants to buy my app because blah, blah, right? Like you just have to. This is just the nuance of the marketing game. So, okay, we're making progress here. Let's see how far we're going here. So now let me do the detail thing. Okay, so we're going to deploy. We're going to test in about less than 2 minutes. Fingers crossed. By the way, if you're new here and you're trying to figure out who the hell I am and what am I doing, I have a vibe coded community here where I teach people how to vibe code. It's 100% free. Oh, look, I got a new member. Should we accept them on screen? Yeah, we will. So which ID is that? I'm using, this is Stuart, by the way, from TikTok. I'm using VS Code. So why do I join the community? I'll drop you the link right now, sir. Thanks for asking. School is dwayne.me/school is the link. And join the community. It's free community. We talk about vibe coding. We're up to 77 members right now. And any single time I go live, every Friday we're on live at 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. every Friday. I'm going to try to figure out some other times to kind of go live because I noticed that there's just a random set of audience, especially on TikTok. But join the community, join the group here. Click on this here, start here. It'll tell you exactly what my mission, what my goal is, what I'm trying to accomplish. And then if you're like a non-technical person, it goes through some basic guide on how to like just think about like computers in the abstract for web development, app development, that kind of stuff. And then I kind of bring you into my world, which is Cloudflare, because that's really where I'm trying to specialize and become basically an expert in Cloudflare, all things Cloudflare. So I go from like literally I buy a domain name on this live and I set it up. They're like 10-15 minutes video except for this last one here. I might actually update this new one here because I have this troubleshooting on how I did this. But point is, it goes from like literally hello world all the way up. So so yeah, and if you're getting any value from this, press the heart button, like the live. That would be great for TikTok and the TikTok gods. But yeah, thanks for asking, Mr. Stewart. Okay, so let's see. We're almost there. So we're going to do a deployment and then we're going to kind of go from there. So can you do a deployment so we could test the entire thing, both front end and back end? And make sure that all the APIs are working correctly. Okay, so there's lots of stuff to deploy. So we'll see how that goes. And then we're going to do some testing. See if this app actually is working correctly. So just to let you know, just for the people that are new here, what exactly the app is. It's a budgeting app, which you could try out for free, by the way. I dropped the link a little bit earlier up. I'll drop it in again. But it's a budgeting app that basically gives you a financial overview of your income, your expenses. You could put your debt inside of here and it could show you how much your available credit. You could put your credit card. You could put all the details in there. Then you get a breakdown of budgeting. You could see all the details. And then from there, you can see all the transactions. You can do reoccurring transactions. You can just get an overview. But my primary goal is so that you can basically scan your credit card statements, any bank statement, any of that kind of stuff, upload it, and have AI kind of do a lot of the background work to take all the transactions and properly run them in properly. So just in case you're wondering what we're building here. And we're going to be testing in less than 5 minutes time. We're going to be testing the AI portion of the backend. That's what I'm doing here. I'm using VS Code to do a deployment. So yeah, how do I get the app? Oh, how do I get the app? Hang on, I get you the app right now. Hang on 1 second. Get to the link. appl_forwardly. Great question. Thanks for asking, by the way, /beta. Oops, beta/beta. So you can get the app from here. It's a brand new app, so it hasn't been approved by the App Store yet, but that's what we're working on. That's our next step. Right now, I'm just looking for beta users to just be able to test it and just kind of give me feedback and use it. But it is a live, real production app. In fact, I've been using it for the last few days now with my wife because we just took all of her spreadsheet from like 2024, 2025, 2023, and we just basically just dump it into the app so that we could just take all that transaction and not have to like deal with all of the craziness of manually doing budgeting, which is annoying. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing. Okay, That being said, though, I'm doing live deployment, so if it breaks, it's on you. I'm just kidding. We'll get it fixed if it does break. But yeah, there's no stage in development right now. It's just straight to production. Like, when we ship code, we strip straight to production. Thanks for asking, Mr. Trappy or Tappy. Yeah, Tappy. I think it is. So okay. Okay, so let's see what we got. And again, so it's a PWA app for now, right? So okay, let me try it on a real. I can't do it on this one here because this is just a simulator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit this first, and I'll try to share my screen in a sec with this one. I just want to quickly I need to sign out to this account because this is live data. I'm going to log into a test account. Dwayne Brown. Continue. Okay, going to go to receipts section. Going to go to document. And so I'm just going to scan the receipts, go to track expenses. So let's just see if I could just take the picture. Just scan a new receipt, click on allow. And I'm just going to take a picture of this. Actually, let's take a picture of just this section here. Okay, so new expense. Okay, so, all right, one of the problems that I have right now is that, okay, so I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix that right away. Okay, let me just talk about what it is. So right now, the only thing I could do is upload a statement, a receipt, or a statement. Okay, so I got a problem here. I want to fix this right away. So I'm going to create a new thing. So one of the problems that I have right now is if I try to scan a receipt, in this particular case, I'm trying to scan a bank statement. I need to be able to specify whether it's a receipt or a statement, because if it's a receipt, if it's a bank statement, a statement, then obviously I don't need to do an individual transaction. So it should just take the document, input it, and then kind of go from there. If it is a receipt, then you can potentially ask the user to enter the actual dollar value and then categorize it. So that flow still works correctly. However, I'm trying to snap a bank statement of a bunch of transactions. So I just want you to just take that in and then start the process on the back end from the picture. Right. Okay. So that's kind of a problem. So we're going to try to see if we can get that fixed. All right, because the issue, just to make sure that everybody's clear on what the problem is, the issue is that if I'm here as doing a receipt, I click on scan new. This is only allowing me to take a picture of a receipt. The problem with that is that it just pushes me to just enter a one-line item. But in this particular case, this document that I have here literally has, I don't know, 50, at least 30 line items for sure about that. Maybe a little less than that, maybe 25 or something. But anyway, it has a whole bunch of things. So I still want to snap a picture of this, and I want to just say this is a statement, so it knows how to go do the processing of a statement in the background. And then I'll be able to kind of, from there, I'll be able to sort of look at the, I'll be able to look at the history of the documents that were uploaded, the summary, and then kind of be able to see the details. So that's what I'm aiming to accomplish. And then there's one thing that's missing because I have no idea how to see the summary of the documents that were uploaded. So we'll have to be able to see that as well too, but we're going to do that in the next step. Summary of what was uploaded. uploaded. Yeah. So we want to be able to see the summary of what was uploaded. So, okay. Ba, ba, ba. Right. So, okay, let's see what's coming up here. I'm just trying to. So now let me update the manage to-do list checklist to see if the document, could the document route already exists. Let me update the document component, check if the document component handles location state showing the document component doesn't currently handle incoming location state. Now let me add success message display in the UI. Let me add if there's a backend processing kickoff. I see there's a separate endpoint trigger extraction post. Doesn't automatically start extraction. Let me find this endpoint. I see there's an extraction trigger endpoint by. I'll upload the document, auto trigger. I'll upload the document to update the document to auto trigger extraction from statement. Let me add if there's after it's created. Let me read the final. Yeah. Okay. So what's missing really is we want to make sure that there's a way to kind of see the state. So I'm going to add on the UI. We're going to add to the menu some place where we could see a summary. So can you add on the menu, top right hand corner, a link to the place where we can see a summary of the documents that were uploaded and the state of which is being extracted, queued, processed, etc., etc. This way we can easily get to it. Otherwise, it becomes very hard for us to be able to properly manage the state, my documents. Statements, upload CSV. We're going to try to upload CSV in a bit, but I want to do the documents first. I want to be able to just take a picture of the statement, go from there, push it up, have it kind of run. While that's being done, let's just take a look at our database, see if there's any people sign up today or yesterday. Right now I have to manually go to the database and check to see if people actually signed up. No new users. That's okay. We'll get some users. We will get some users. And 6,000 rows written. Yeah. In the meantime, let me just go to this. Oh, look at that. 3 new people added through school in the last few minutes. Learn how to deploy my vibe code and app coded. Yes. AI enthusiast. Perfect. Where does that put us on the community? Wow, look at that. 80 members. We're 80 people strong. 80 people strong. Three online. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Almost there.
Can I ask you what you think of this weather this morning? You're okay with this? Were you surprised?
And let's see if we can do a search for me. Oh, look at that live. That's cool. It's hard to see, but that's okay. Did I miss a part of my hair? That's funny. Vibe coding, make money, building apps, join the community. It's cool. I like it. Okay. Do a deployment of the latest changes. Oh. Look at that. Dwayne Brown is one member that's on there. Friday afternoons are hardly. All right. Almost there. Oh, look, we got a new person that's interested. Is this live? No, that's got another person that's interested in our app. Again, this is what I mean by you having to be consistent with this stuff. Message. Awesome. So there we go. Another person said yes. They're going to check it out, and hopefully they're going to check it out in a couple of days' time or whatever. But the point is, this is how you get the word out. This is what you have to do. You just got to keep posting consistently, messaging people, and see if they're interested in trying it. So did we just do a deployment? Yes. Okay, so let's see what we got. Let's try to break it down and see what we got. Click on open. Open. Documents. How do I know it's actually deployed? Excuse me. Okay, let's just try it and see. I might have done that wrong. Okay. Oops. Damn it. Too many requests. Made a mistake here. I got some request limitations on the back end. Okay, I have some request limitations that I have to keep in place, but because I don't want to increase the thing, but I'm going to say I'm going to do some bypass specifically for my accounts. I have some rate limit in place for a specific for the system, but I want to bypass a certain set of accounts specifically. So what I want to do is bypass the rate limit for very specific tenants. And then how do I, let's see. So I'm just gonna, I need to bypass some very specific, so I want to hard code it basically because I got, yeah, this is not the best way to do this, but this is what we're gonna do for now. Yeah, because if I don't do that, I'm going to keep hitting my own rate limits. That's really annoying. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to also remove, I'm going to go to Cloudflare, I'm going to reset the rate limit. Just so at least I don't hit it every time. Just a way to protect yourself because now you got real data in there. Workers KV, rate limit. Settings, KV, delete, 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 delete. Run the deployment. And then the next question is, what happens? So if the user runs into a rate limit situation, right? Because that's basically that's what happens to me just now. So just to give you a recap. So I try to upload a bunch of receipts. I'm hitting my own rate limit, which is not good. So I'm just basically adding some very specific bypass specifically for my account so I don't hit these rate limits while I'm doing testing. Not the recommended approach, just to be clear, for production type app. However, we're just testing right now, so we want to just be able to kind of bypass it to make sure that that's going to work okay. So that's what we're going to do. And then Secondly, once we kind of do that rate limit deployment, then I'm going to run another test and we'll see what actually happens. So fingers crossed, should be good after this here. But yeah, the rate limit thing is really annoying. So we're just, like I said, doing a sort of kind of a hack to get around it until we deal with that later on. Okay, so let's do some more testing here. So I'm gonna take a picture of a receipt, click on add. Right now it's asking me ahead of time whether it should be a statement or a thing. I kind of don't really like that because it's taken up from room. So let me show you what I mean. So here, nope, sorry. Okay, I gotta close this and open it again. So if I open it up and I go to the receipt section and I click on scan new receipt, it's asking me whether this should be a receipt or a thing. The problem is it's taking up too much UI. So let me just send this in. It has to be on a separate screen. It can't be on the same screen because it's just, I'm not seeing the button. Right? I'm not seeing the button to actually say scan receipt. So we got a problem with the UI. Whenever I try to scan the receipt, it's asking me whether it's receipt, whether the document is a receipt or a statement on the screen that I'm scanning. It shouldn't be on this screen. It should allow me to just be able to take the picture, and then afterwards it should ask me whether it's a receipt or statement, because right now the problem with the screen is that it takes up all the space. And I don't have a lot of space. So see the UI, you see the screenshot for reference. Paste the image, click and submit. Right, so that's kind of the problem. The problem is that this, let me just pull up the image. Okay, here. Right, so what's happening basically is this, like the button to actually press is all the way down at the bottom there because it added this receipt here. So what we want to do is we want to add the button. We want to just have that button show up here all the time. Whenever you click on it, it's going to take you to another page, and that following page will ask you, hey, is this a receipt or is this a statement? If it is a statement, then it's just going to continue processing. If it's a receipt, then it's going to ask you for the additional details like the dollar value and the category, right? So that's what we're going to hope that it actually does, because I didn't actually specify that properly. So that's the goal. Hey, Mr. Nazir. Did I get that right? Nizar, Nazar, maybe? How are you doing, man? Welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for saying hi. If you're getting any value from this, like it and thumbs up it if you can. That'd be great. Brand new to this stuff here, so I'm just trying to get the word out about what I do. And since you're new, we'll talk a little bit about my community. So I have a vibe coding community where you can check it out. Totally free to join, where we talk about vibe coding and all things vibe coded related. So we got 80 people in the chat. 3 people just joined recently, like literally just 5 minutes ago. So feel free to join. And I'll drop the link in the chat just for you, just so at least you can click on it. Feel free to ask me any questions that you might have around vibe coding or any single thing of the sort. We're vibe coding on Cloudflare here. So yeah, I just saw you join now, Mrs. Stewart. Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. Looking forward to chatting with you in the community. So, like I said, okay, so almost there. After fix, clear screen, document selection process, after capture, model appears, receipt, create new transaction, extract multiple statements, retake photo option if used, linger viewfinder. Okay, do a deployment so we can test it. All right. So deployment is happening. Let's see. Testing will be in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boo boo. Okay, great. We got a deployment. So I just gotta click on this, go to this guy here, exit this. We could test it. We could test half of it here because this is a simulator, so won't be able to test the receipt part. Click on that. Click on receipts. Click on scan. Allow. Man, I still can't see the button properly. Failed to create Bob, so dismiss. So let me just show it what it's doing here. Annoying. Escape, sorry. I still can't see the button to take the picture at the bottom because we got too much space at the top or something. See image above for reference. Okay, so meantime, I'll try it on my phone, see if it does anything different. Okay, open it up again. Click on receipt, click on scan, click on allow. Yeah, can't get the button at the bottom. Can't get the button at the bottom. Yeah. Okay, so we got to get that fixed. Okay, almost there, almost there. Did you finish it? The scanner should be a true full screen overlay that covers the entire screen width now. Okay, VS Code and Via, which agent are you using? Right now I'm using Claude, Opus 4.5. So what I do is I kind of fluctuate between Opus and Sonnet. And then sometimes, honestly, I'll even drop down to 4 because I find 4 to be pretty good. But these are my go-to. What I do is if I have really complex things that I'm doing, like for example, I'm pulling out a whole bunch of stuff from a planning, like this is a lot of stuff from a plan standpoint, I'll do Opus. And then when I need a little bit more less granularity, I'll go with Sonnet, which is perfectly fine. Sonnet has been fantastic. And then I'll go with 4, Sonnet 4, if I just need speed, right? That's it. Those are my go-to models, and then I'll stick on 4.5 for the most part. I only will sometimes go with Gemini 3.0 Pro for certain things. The problem I find with Gemini 3.0 is every single time I use it, it restarts what I'm doing. It just basically cleans out whatever I was doing before and just puts new stuff. Drives me nuts. So it's not very consistent from that regard. So I just kind of stop using it. However, it has the best UI that I find. So that's kind of a problem. But yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see if this is going to work a little bit better. So we're going to go back to this page here. We're going to, thanks for asking the question though. Okay, let's do this. Click on receipts. Click on scan. Okay, better. Definitely better for sure. So that's good. Let's try it on our phone now. So open up the app. Click on receipts. Click on scan. Click on allow. That's much better. I'll try to take as good of a picture as I possibly can. Perfect. Oh, that's cool. So when you click on it, oh, I forgot. I'm on the simulator here. But it asked me, is this a receipt? Choose with document type. Is this a receipt or is it a statement? I'm going to choose a statement. Uploading statement. Fantastic. Okay, that's cool. Let me see if I share this. Let me see if I can share this. APOW. So screen mirroring. What's going on here? What am I doing? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So there. So it says processing. Two documents processing. 2 statements. And I have no idea what the progress of it is. Failed to load image. This document has not been processed. So I'm getting this here. So we should, oh, what did I do? Okay, first of all, this is annoying. Okay, we got some UI issues here on the menu. It's trying to show document processing. So we want to fix that. Oh, my screen share is not working. Hang on a second. Oops. We have some annoying issues on the UI. Whenever I click on the drop-down menu to see my documents, it's showing me one document processing, which doesn't make any sense on the menu. The menu shouldn't have any status bar. And And whenever I try to view the actual image that was uploaded, I'm seeing a message failed to load image. So for some reason I'm not seeing the image that's there. Now the real question is what's happening on the backend side? So is there a queue? So every single thing is inactive. And workers AI. Interesting. So it says processing, but I don't think it's doing anything. Too many requests. Okay. I have to keep clearing out my queues. Okay, so let's see what happens. What we're trying to do right now is we're trying to just see if we could get this UI here. So right now what's happening is whenever I upload this UI here, nothing is happening on the queue side. And all of the queues just seem to be disabled right now. So we're gonna try to see if we could actually get the queues working. Oops, I'm clicking on this, I'm on it wrong. Here. Yeah, so whenever I click on the receipt, that's fine. But so I click on here and then I click on scan receipt. Which is fine. And I click on scan. So let me see. I wonder if I could. Oh, interesting. It doesn't allow me to take a picture for take something from the phone. Let me just see that. I didn't know to realize that wasn't working. So click on receipts. Click on your receipts. No camera. Yeah, it doesn't allow me to upload anything. Okay, we'll get to that in a bit. No upload. No upload. Choose from an existing file because maybe I might have taken the receipt from before. So let's see what was the problem. So image load fix. The document preview was showing failed to load image because the backend auth middleware didn't support tokens pass to query as parameter. Solution, update the backend, require auth. Middleware also checks for token query parameter. This is needed because when loading an image source tag, browsers don't send authorization headers. Menu processing, documented badge solution, remove the badge processing associated with the thing. Deployment fix. Okay, so let me just think about this for a second. So let me just say, and let me just let's stay on this. Close to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, how do I know when a document is uploaded if it's processing? Right now I'm seeing in the queues, for the Cloudflare queues, I'm not seeing any, all the statuses are inactive for the queues. Also, any single thing that you are going forward, any queues or durable objects or workers that you think, you need to prefix it with the app name also, affordly, so we can keep track of it, because right now it's going to be hard to keep track of the queues and the receipts, etc. So we should make that adjustment. But the primary goal is to figure out why all the queues are showing inactive and what background jobs are required in order to make it work properly. And then I'm just going to re-put this image inside of it. This image here. Okay, so where are we? While that's doing, I'm gonna sort of test it again. I'm gonna see if click on receipts, click on scan, click on allow. Yeah, there's definitely some issues here. I actually don't know. Looking at the screen, I can see the document is stuck in processing state. Let me investigate. I see the issue. The backend has a queue producer configure, but no consumer. Let me check the receipt processor. Now I can see clearly. Let me check the receipt processor queue, consumer, implement and verify if the worker is due and deployed. Found the issue. The queue receipt shows one producer, backend producer message, consumer, no consumer is a receipt. Right. Got it. So basically what's happening is our front end is dropping items onto the queue. Our back end is not picking it up because we don't have any consumers that could actually pull from the queue. So we're just doing a deployment just to test if we can actually thing, and we're going to update the naming conventions of all of the queues and this for the deployment, because we don't want to have a bunch of queues that don't have proper naming. It's just gonna be madness. All right, so we got a receipt extractor queue. That's one. Okay, we're gonna list all the other queues. Okay, so it's going to try to just recreate the queues with different producers and consumers. This is doing a lot of stuff. There's no way I could do this much work in this little bit amount of time in 1 week. Almost there. Ba, ba, ba. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. I was just daydreaming for a second there, trying to figure out. Okay, so what we're doing is we're deploying the namespace D1 bucket and environment variables. Come on, almost there. Okay, so I think we got queue working. Okay, let's try it and see now. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to log out of this. Make sure we're on the same account. I'm going to log in with this account. I'm going to log in with that account. Continue. New. Click on close. I'm going to click on documents. I'm going to see a bunch of documents. I'm going to click on, so what I'll do is I'll just close this, open this again, because I don't know if the queues of the old stuff will work, but we'll find out. I should tell it this is what my queue look like though. Right now, this is what I'm seeing with my queues. Can you delete any of the queues that are not relevant? Yeah, so we're gonna get it to just delete any of the queues because I don't want to make sure. I want to make sure that it's just doing just the right thing with only the queues that's relevant. Just refresh that and just see. Okay, so let me just see. We're just trying to get rid of all the queues that are not relevant so that we just have only proper queues. So where do I see the jobs that are currently processing or to be processed for further analysis, etc.? Yeah, basically, okay. I'm just making sure that it's actually doing the right thing. I'm just double checking here. So I'm just double checking that it knows what it's doing, so it could see. You have 3 documents stuck in process status uploaded. I can see the jobs stuck in queue status. The sent old had no consumer deployed either. So reprocess them. Send a new queue or build the UI to see this. Right. So we need a way for the UI, if it's stuck, to retry. Right? Because basically what we're saying is, like, I got a bunch of documents here. See, my documents. Okay. They're sitting, processing, processing, processing. But the only reason they're processing is because it's just sitting in queue, it's just waiting. And things. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this, we'll try reprocess this document. This will cancel any stock documents and right. Okay, let's try that. Error. So that's not good. So let me see, because that's what we're trying to fix right now. Actually, I should tell it that we're getting an error. Actually, let me wait a little bit first. Let me wait. Retry. Now we'll add a retry button to the individual process failed in the list. Yeah. Okay, and then let's close this and get it. Once it gets deployed, then we're going to just test this part here. So we're just going to test just this part. Click on receipt. Click on scan new. Click on allow. Oh, actually, don't need this. Click on my documents. Too many requests, of course. 1 second. Being rate limited. KV rate limit. Okay, overview. Click on my documents. Try again. Oh, annoying. It's just taking a while to clear. Here. My documents. Oh my goodness. Annoying. Okay, gotta wait. Receipts. My documents. Okay, when I click on retry, I'm getting the D1 underscore error, no such column, last error, colon, SQL underscore light error. Oh, annoying. The insert statement being used in the column doesn't exist. Great. Can you get it fixed, please? Also need to fix job message. Last error versus error message. Update. Retry all is stuck. Requeued 0 document 03 failed. Statements. Oh. Okay, so let's see what we're going. This is another endpoint, regular extraction. Okay. Okay, so that should fix our retry for backend. Documents, what documents? Click on retry. Processing. So what we're basically doing is we're just checking to see. I'm just checking to see if there's any queues or any subscriptions. So basically, if I click here, if I click on Documents, let's go back here, click on Documents. Right, so this should be working now. The thing that I'm having an issue with is I actually don't know where it's supposed to be showing up in the back end. That's what I'm looking for right now. So queues. Interesting. We got a problem. What is the problem? Well, the problem is that the document is okay. There's too many requesting is annoying. Ignore that for a second. So the document is being uploaded. That's fine. Let me just get rid of the workers queue thing. You know what? We need to have a way. Every time I upload a document, it says that it's processing, but there's no other indication that a document is actually being completed or that any progress is being made. I also don't seem to see all of the queues that should exist because my understanding is that there should be a queue for the receipt extraction, there should be a queue for the processing, there should be a queue for categorization. I don't seem to see any of those queues. So check the original implementation and then figure out what needs to happen. Let's see. So it because it's only right now there's only two queues: receipt extract queue and a receipt extract dead letter queue. So that seems to be a problem. There's a table that has a status, which is the name of the table. The table name is receipt extraction jobs. Which is where so receipt extraction jobs queued. Right. I see only NQ logs, but the receive logs maintained jobs were set to queue, but the receipt processing worker is not receiving them. This is likely because the jobs were sent to the old queue before they were renamed. Okay, got you. The worker is up now. Let me verify the queue consumer is properly configured. The queue has one consumer, a forwardly receipt processor production. The problem is those 3 old jobs were in queue to the old queue before it was renamed. They're stuck in the database but never made it to the new queue. Got it. Let me click retry. Need to add auth to check the actual code. There's another place still using the old. Yeah, okay. So that's the reason why. We renamed the queue. We got a bunch of mismatch, so we're going to try to see if we could get that sorted out. Okay. Patiently waiting for a ending here. Let's see. Mr. Vendar.ng. Did I get that right? On TikTok? How are you doing, man? Or girl? I don't know which one. So we're just wrapping up, but basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make sure that the document here, this document section here, is going to process these documents. The documents are basically credit card statements that I've snapped a picture of that I'm sending into the system that then should be processed in the background. That's basically what the goal is. However, the documents are kind of stuck in the old system, so because I made some rename some of the queue names, and that's what's causing some issues. So try the retry button now. Go to the document page and click on retry button. Document stuck. The button. This will create a new job in the database. Send message to the new queue for the receipt extract. The receipt processor should pick it up. Now click the retry button. Where are all the queues? The design uses one queue, a forwardly receipt extraction, processing, and categorization all happen in the receipt processing worker. The 3 jobs were in queue. Okay, so here's a question. What happens if the job fails at extraction, or it fails at processing, or it fails at categorization? Shouldn't there be 3 independent queues? Therefore, we could kind of have a chain, and then we could go in and process or figure out independently what's going on. Oh, rate limit. Oh, annoying. Gotta go down to 4 or 5. Let's see. Oh, annoying. Okay, while that's happening, let's see if we could go back in here. And if we can, we're going to exit this. Click on this. Computer, stop. And we're going to go to here, My Documents. And we're going to click on Retry. Requeued, 0 documents, 3 failed. I don't like this. Okay, we're going to try this and see what happens. Ah, stupid thing. Hang on, gotta take a screenshot again. All right, so let's see what the question answer is. So excellent question. You're absolutely right to think about the failure modes and thing. Let me show you what happens currently and when this can, and then we can discuss whether the multi-queue architecture should be better. So current architecture, upload to queue, worker does all 3 steps automatically. Extract, OCR, processing, validation, deduplication, categorization, map to categories, stage transaction, failure handling. If extraction fails, generally marked as fail, retries up to 3 times with exponential backoff. If processing fails, same retry, then goes to dead letter queue. If categorization fail, all transactions still save, just with needs review. Got you. Problem identified. Can't tell which step failed. If extraction succeeded but categorization failed, you lose the extraction work. Yeah, retrying means redoing all steps, even the ones that worked. Hard to debug log. So propose architecture. Upload, extract queue, extract worker, process queue. Yeah, independent chains of stuff. That's what it should be. Yeah, so let's do that, shall we? Tree queues because it's much easier to debug, yes. Cost savings, don't rerun. Yes, let's do that. Because whenever I press on the retry button, I'm also seeing that 3 documents, the message says re-enqueued, 0 documents, 3 failed, and I'm not certain why, and I don't know how to debug it. Okay, so we got to make some changes to this entire architecture. Okay, so we got to re-architecture a little bit. Perfect. I see the 3 documents stuck in processing status. Now let me test the reprocessing endpoint directly. Okay, so we got a little bit more work to do here. So the issue is that we have a problem with retries. That's number one. But that problem existed because we changed the queue names. Second problem that we have is we have a token problem. The token and the authentication had some issues. And now it's going to try and see if it could separate the queues into multiple different formats. So let me try to explain while we wait for it. So ideally what we want is we want a system where we could kind of know the failure at each given point, right? So if you have a document that you upload, let's say here, and you upload it, your backend takes it, uploads it, so it saves it and puts it into storage. That's one. The second thing it wants to do is it's going to basically put it on a queue, right? E, U, E. So it's going to put it on a queue. However, the queue, it has multiple steps. So this, when it puts it on the queue, somebody picks it up and does some work. Right now what's happening is that somebody's doing like 3 or 4 different tasks all in the same thing. The problem with that is that if this fails, I don't know what's going on, or if this fails, I don't know what's going on. So the way to solve that problem, by adding a little bit more complexity, but it does work, is whenever this guy finishes one task, he basically adds it to a second queue, right? And then the second queue does the second half of the job. There's another somebody will pick it up and do the work. And then whenever he finishes it, he adds it on to a third queue. So therefore, you're kind of eliminating failures by basically allowing one job to be done per worker and then be picked up by the other queue. And therefore, if this guy runs into problem, you could kind of debug this independently of this queue, because this queue might be working fine and this queue might be working fine, but you might have a problem here. This allows you to kind of separate them. That's basically what the goal is, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. Right? Okay, we got some required authentication problems, but let me just see. Do some authentication thing. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to just kind of close things off here. And I'm going to let it kind of continue in the background. And then I'm just going to summarize it in my initial intro. I might be breaking things here. It's taking too long. It's running for too long, so this summarization is going to cause some pains. Okay, so we're going to do a deployment. We'll test it. We'll give it one last shot. We'll see what happens. And then, great, deployed. Now let's test and retry endpoint directly. It's been working for a while. Middleware is still blocking. Okay, you know what? While that's doing that, let me see if I could just do it and try it. I'm going to just try it directly again, just to see if that actually works. Yeah, we got a problem. We got a couple of ID and payload issues here that we got to fix. So we're gonna call it the day for now. We're gonna close it off. We're close, but we got to refine sort of like the process, and we just need to do some testing. So it's going to be a little more iteration on this, just to make sure that it's actually working. And then from there, we're going to. Okay, it looks like it's deploying. So let's see if it actually could get something going. Perfect. Now we see the test again. Okay, we got to redeploy some backend workers. That's what's going on. Okay, so I'm gonna try to. I'm then just gonna open up a new document and try to see if I could just add a new document. Instead of trying to do the whole retry thing, we're just going to add a new receipt and see if this is working. Okay, so tenant ID not defined. So when I try to take a picture of a receipt and choose statement, it gives me an error, tenant ID not defined. Okay, so we're just gonna wait. I'm gonna end the TikTok live because that's just neither here nor there for now. And we're gonna end this live also. And then we're just gonna clean up the main parts of the Okay, so I found the SU. Let's see if we could actually do one last test and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we got a problem with some document issues. We got authentication problem, so we're gonna try to see if we could fix that. Okay, so it seems like we had a deployment happen. And test it and see. Okay, it looks like it's doing something. Let's find out. So let's do Okay, so it says it's doing something. I don't know if it actually is or not because that's the issue. However, if I look at the queue, so if I look at the queue here, we could see that something did happen. There is no subscription to it, queue. Consumer backend. Affordly ready processor. So this is a queue here. Metrics. Requests. So it did pick up something. And I guess the question now is, what the real question that I'm having is, how do I know summary, transactions, need review? Right, so it's extracting, but I don't know how far in the extraction process it is, or right. So that's what we're just gonna have to work through the details here just to kind of figure things out. I think it's being the table that is using is this one here. So extraction queue logs, right? So you see here enqueue, process, reprocess. So that's one. And receipt extraction logs, summary, nothing is in there. Mappings, nothing is in there. Failed, queue. So the issue I'm having is I don't know where to actually see the details of the tracking of the queues. That's basically what it is, right? Because we're kind of fly by night architecting here. So that's the issue that I'm having. And so my only guess is basically to test, let the AI kind of do a test to see what's going on. So can you run a test on the tables just to see which queues are currently running and which ones are not, and if there's any single thing that has a problem? Because all I'm seeing on the UI is processing, but no actual results or anything. And what's crazy is I'm still not able to see the image, so that's something that we'll have to look into, but we'll do that later on. Right here. The image is always empty for some reason on the R2. I know they're going into the R2 because I could see them in the Cloudflare thing, but I just can't see them here. So we're going to do a little more testing, and then we're just going to wrap things up here. Keep saying that, but I really want to take a close on a positive note, or not. Stage extraction jobs. Okay, so we had a database problem. So stage extraction jobs. Missing database. Receipt processor deployed. The queue consumer worker for receipt processor that does not deploy to Cloudflare. Right, job stuck in queue state. There are 3 jobs stuck in processing status in a job queue state, but because no worker is consuming them. Right, so that's the issue. Which was my suspicion. Run the fix and fix the issues. I keep seeing this failure. That's probably what is going on. So I think I know what's going on. It's happening because the deployment is failing. Might be. Let's see. We got some sort of conflict with our consumer and our queue. That's what's going on. Oh, we got a mismatch in the job fields. Okay, we're gonna leave it there. We're not gonna finish this today. Basically, the issue is that we got the jobs are being uploaded to queue. However, there's no consuming queue to pick up the jobs and process them in the background. So we just got to do a little bit of iteration. We got a bit of a database mismatch. So we're trying to get that sorted out right now. So I'm going to see if I could get some iteration going on this, and then I'll try to do a sort of a summarized version of the start of the video. So with that, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for the people that actually checked in today and say hi. Always appreciated every single time. Like I said, I'm still trying to pick up the slack on the community. But with that, hopefully you got some value from this. And if you did, please like, subscribe to the channel in the future if you haven't already. And feel free to join the community. Link is in the description. Have yourself a wonderful day. I'll see you guys next week.